8-bit Schmidt here. If you have a Chrysler or Dodge and you have an AC leak and you see nothing at the AC condenser or anywhere externally, then more than likely you got an AC evaporator leak, which is a common problem on Chryslers across the board. Been doing them for many years. So we're going to be taking this one apart. Start with taking both front seats out, which there's 2 connectors on each front seat underneath, and then 4 bolt holes. Take the battery connections off so the airbag and everything discharges. So you have them 2 connectors and the 4 bolt holes, and the seats are out on each side. Well, that and the seat belt. You have to take the cover off and then take that bolt out, and that will come off. Then it's just a matter of getting the center console out, which there's some trim pieces here by the shifter that you pop up. There's 2 bolts there, and then there'll be 4 bolts there. Take them out, and your center console is ready to pop out. Well, I also did forget, there's an electrical connector right here, which is pretty easy to unplug. I don't have my other hand here, but you just unplug that, and then center console comes out. Alright, that's with it out. A little bit of a pain getting over that e-brake handle, but you can wiggle it out of there and lift up on it. Pull it back towards the rear seats, then lift her up a little bit and she'll come up off of there. Not too crazy. Next is the steering column here. Take these column covers off, which are 3 screws here. And then the bottom column cover disconnects from the top column cover. Then it's a matter of, right there's a 13mm bolt, which I broke loose with a ratchet and a universal. Now I can thread it out by hand, which right here will be a little bit more threads. There she is. So now she's out. This will actually take, and it will slide up. Then it's just a matter of, there's a bolt there, or nut there I should say, and a nut there, and a nut there, and a nut there. In the back, actually maybe it is only 3 on these. I forget, it's 3 or 4. There might be a nut back there, but then you just make sure you keep your steering wheel straight and don't turn it so you don't mess up the clock spring. And steering column can be out in about 5 minutes. Getting back to you, there is a nut that comes in from the side, or a bolt I should say. So it's a total of 3 nuts that I showed you, and then that bolt that comes in from the side, and then she's out. May have exaggerated, a little bit more than 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. You can have it out once you take these column covers off here, which they just simply pop out. These are the 3 electrical connectors that you unplug from the clock spring, and then take those 3 nuts out, the 1 bolt, and then also the 13mm bolt down at the steering shaft, and she's out. And that's what she looks like out. So again, it says 4 nuts, those electrical connectors that I showed you. Well, there's a couple of them right there at the clock spring. It's like 3 or 4 of them, nothing big. And that 13mm screw down there at the steering shaft, and she's out. And then what I normally do is I take a bungee strap and I strap the steering wheel like that, and I'm real careful when I take it out not to turn anything. Okay, now we're going to be working on the dash, and up there's the airbag. We got to unplug those connectors, which this little red piece, you just take a little like straight blade screwdriver, I mean little, and pry this red piece up, and then it unplugs. We're going to do the same to that one, and then take out them two 10mm nuts. We'll get the airbag out. Then you have these connectors here on the passenger side, and you want to make sure all your blend door actuators and temperature actuators are unplugged. Basically everything that plugs into the heater box, HVAC box. So you want to like unplug that, recirculating door, any mode door actuators, temperature blend door actuators. Then we'll move over here to the driver's side, and there's going to be two bulkhead connectors. Which one is right here where my hand is, and then there will be one. It's kind of tough to see, but one right here. So it's two bulkhead connectors, and then the rest of the stuff will stay in place with the instrument panel when you pull it. I'll show you the progression here. Getting a little bit further here, most of these panels, they just, you know, pop out. Couple screws here or there. I use this trim stick. It's non-marring, so you don't screw stuff up. So we pulled some covers off. I unplugged the instrument cluster, pulled that out. Shop manual says to take this panel off. Most of the ones I've did, you don't have to take this stuff off, but for whatever reason, the shop manual is saying to take it off. So I pulled these Torx screws out of it, unplugged everything necessary that I had to do. Then this park release cable, what you do is you turn the key to the accessory position, and you push this in, and you can pop this cable straight out. That hang down here when I pull the whole dash out. There's also some covers over there that pop out. And right now what I'm working on is the radio and the heater controls. Like I said, you just want to be real careful. I mean, real careful when you pop this stuff out. For the most part, it's about ready to come out. I'll get this out. I need both my hands. And then we'll go from there. And there's the instrument cluster. There she is. Trim piece popped off. Then there's just some electrical connectors back here that you'll want to unplug. There's a red. Chryslers are notorious for doing that. These catches here that you gotta pry up, and then you can unplug the connector. But that's pretty much, once you get all them unplugged, then that's out of the way. And then you can get to your radio and stuff, and any bolts or screws that might be back there holding the instrument panel to the HVAC box, which we're later going to have to pull. And the reason you got to remove all that stuff, radio and all that stuff, is because, see those 10mm bolts there? Actually, it might look a little bit bigger in the video, but they are 10mm, I believe. They might be 11, but majority of the time it's 10. But you got to take them off, disconnect it from the HVAC box, this whole instrument panel. You also do have to tear this ductwork off on each side. There's a screw that goes right there. You take that screw out, and then I don't know how well you can see, it's kind of dark in here, but take that screw out, and back there you can just separate that ductwork and pull that out through the bottom. That needs to come off because that attaches to the front here when you try to pull this whole instrument panel assembly off. So again, ductwork on each side. You also pop speaker grills out and pull the speakers up out through with those Torx head screws there. As far as down here, you'll pull the carpet back, and there's brackets on each side. They're 13 millimeter. Take them bolts out. The ground wires and stuff can stay attached because that's coming out with it. There is a bulkhead connector right here, which will need unplugged. The rest of the stuff can stay plugged in, but that bulkhead connector needs unplugged. You also want to pop this trim piece off that belongs up there. Once you do that, you can then access these 4 Torx head screws, and it is 4 of them. As you can see here, they run along there over to the other side. There's a glare, but there's 2 other ones over there on the driver's side. Then, like I was telling you earlier, you got to remove the CD player and HVAC controls to take those 10 millimeter bolts out. There's also 2 hidden in these holes here. You want to take them out too, because that holds the support brace on the HVAC housing. So our job is to loosen all them up or get all the bolts out. It's 5 total. There's also 1 right there. You get those out. The support brace will come out with the instrument panel. And when you think you've had everything unplugged and you're ready to pull, you'll take those 13 millimeter bolts out and that Phillips head screw. It's the same on the driver's side. And if everything's unplugged, you got your braces out down there, which I didn't do yet. I'm going to be doing here in a minute. They're also 13 millimeter. Then it should all come out as 1 unit. There's actually a 13 millimeter bolt in here by the door. Also, that comes in from the side. On each side, you got to take off this cover right here. Pops in there, you pop it out. It's about half a pain to get to, but there's a 13 millimeter bolt there and a 13 millimeter on the other side. Then there's also a 13 millimeter right there that goes down, which you can kind of see how I'm going to get it. And then, like I said, the other 13 millimeter there, and then we should be ready to come out. And she's out now. We got to disconnect the heater hoses out at the firewall, the expansion valve, and then we got to get the floor ducts off, which isn't that big of a deal. And then that whole box is going to come out, and then we can separate it and then put the core in. So we got to get back in here at the expansion valve and the heater hoses, and then we'll get her out. Here's what whole instrument panel looks like removed. I remove it with that support bar and stuff on it, but that's what it looked like removed. So after you get the instrument panel and stuff out, you'll take this Torx head bolt out of the AC expansion valve line set. Take these heater hoses off right here. Both of them are off. And then you'll come in here and you'll take the ductwork off of each side, which you can just kind of take that off, lay it off to the side. Whole thing's loose. There's one 10 millimeter bolt there, and there's also a drip tube right there that you just pop off of right there, and then the box comes out. And that's what it looks like completely out. so now with the HVAC box out, I'm going to have to tear this little doodad apart, and we're going to replace the evaporator. I normally like to, if I can, I try to get an OEM evaporator just because they fit so much nicer than the aftermarket ones, but I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to get one on this Avenger here, and sometimes the people don't like spending $400-500 on an OEM one versus a $100 aftermarket one, but trust me, it'll be well worth it because most of the aftermarket ones don't fit, and then you end up having to fabricate a little bit of stuff to get them to fit. So we're going to take this one apart and see what I can come up with. That's what it looks like out. Typical Chrysler evaporator. Gets a bunch of debris and stuff in the box, and the condensation from sweating goes through, has some kind of reaction with the leaves and the dirt that's in there, and causes the evaporator to degrade over time and ultimately leak. So again, if you have a Chrysler, pretty much any Chrysler, Dodge, Caravan, Ram, whatever, they're notorious for evaporator leaks, done I don't know how many through the years. But that's what the box apart. Basically this unit here bolts to this unit here. There's some screws and a couple clips. That pile of screws there. We'll take that mode door part of the box, or the air distribution part of the box, off of it, and then that will gain you access to your evaporator. I also pulled the heater core because it's sometimes not a bad idea to replace the core while you're there. There again, I would go with OEM. Had a lot of problems through aftermarket through the years, if you can get an OEM. I don't like to cause myself headaches, so I normally get OEM stuff if I can, but that's the gist of it. Gonna see what I can find as far as cores, and then I'm gonna start to go back together with it. Alright, so I got actually an OEM heater core and evaporator coming for this thing. The customer okayed it. Again, they're more money, and I gotta wait 3 to 5 days for them to come, but in my experiences, a lot of the aftermarket stuff's junk. They don't fit right. Either they're an inch too wide or an inch too tall. There's always something that goes on with that cheaper stuff. So we got OEM stuff coming. I'm going to be adding a little less than a 1/4 ounce of PEG 46 to the new evaporator. My machine showed that I pulled out like a 1/4 of an ounce when it was out of Freon, but it pulled out a little less than a 1/4 ounce of oil. Oil balancing is crucial. Not enough oil is catastrophic to the compressor, but too much oil causes higher vent temperatures. So guys, you want to make sure that the oil is balanced properly. In a perfect world, I would flush the whole AC system out and start from scratch, and you know exactly how much oil to put in if you don't have a machine that tells you what you just pulled out. So most of the time when I do compressors and condensers and do a whole compressor kit, well, not most of the time, all the time, I do flush it out and make sure the oil is properly balanced. So for now, I'm going to upload this video. I'll have a finished product next week sometime, within probably 6 to 7 days now, since I got to wait 3 to 5 days. So I'll be uploading a finished product, much shorter video, but this, you know, the procedure that I showed you is the same procedure you're going to be using to go back together. And also, looky here what we have. Another Dodge Nitro, or another Dodge I should say. This one got an AC compressor kit done last year, but the Freon of course leaked out, and we're looking at an evaporator on this one as well. These things are also known for the HVAC box. The mode doors will break in there, and you'll end up having to replace a box, which I actually have the box over here from one that I most recently did. Yeah, I got a bunch of piles from a bunch of engines and stuff that I did, but this would be the box off of a Nitro that goes bad. So if you're going to do an evaporator, you might as well get that box there. Save you some headaches down the road. I think they're around 200, 250 bucks from what I remember. Get that, replace the evaporator, and you should be good to go.
The one on the flamboyant temper, just toss that ham in the frying pan like spam. Get done when I come and slam. Damn, I feel like the son of Sam. Don't make me wreck. Hectic, text the check, got me going like General Electric. And the lights are blinking.